This is my little cricket bin for the bearded dragons. So we raise our crickets so they'll be fresh and not have parasites. We have some busted up dog food sponge with water, some fruits and vegetables, cut up egg crates for them to burrow in and hide when they like. As you can see, they love getting in there. That's their favorite thing to do. You can hear them chirping, so that lets you know they've reached adulthood and they will be breeding. And we will put a little bowl of soil over here in the corner for them to lay their eggs in. And then, a couple weeks later, we'll take it out and hatch those in the incubator. And they'll lay some under the soil here too, but that's fine. But it's a cheap way to have fresh live food for your bearded dragon. Any kind of reptile that you have that eats crickets, I'm telling you, this is the cheapest, most affordable way to go. Yeah, it seems like you're spending a little bit of money in the beginning to get it all set up, for a bin. Little bit of fruit and vegetable for them and stuff, but it's really not that expensive, and you're saving in the long run, because once you spend money going back and forth to pet stores, ordering on Amazon, when you get them off Amazon, sometimes they arrive, they're dead or half dead. It's no good. At least this way, you have fresh live crickets for your reptiles at all times. And once you start getting them, to breed and stuff, it's free. You save money in the long run. Now, you can use a wet paper towel, but I've always used these sponges. They work just as good. I still use a wet paper towel occasionally because it does work. You just have to change it, daily and put a fresh one in, wet it pretty good, but don't wet it too much. You can't really put a bowl of water in here with the crickets because they'll jump in it and drown. I've seen so many crickets in the pet stores. They'll jump in the little water bowls. And I don't even know why most of them have water bowls in there, because they're just going to jump in there and die anyways. It don't make no sense. Crickets get a lot of their water from their fruits and vegetables. As you can see, they love potatoes and oranges. They like greens too. See them how they're trying to burrow? Now, a lot of people use sand or dry dirt. I like to use, I put my stuff on the bottom. It's called, it's called Vigoro. I get it from Home Depot. Just a thin layer goes on the bottom, and then I put a little bit of soil on top of it. The Vigoro is to help with absorption, because they do pee, and they do use the bathroom in here. It helps to absorb it. I put that on the Vigoro on the bottom, a little bit of soil on top, and then I put my mulch on top of that. A lot of people don't use mulch. I do, because my crickets seem to thrive like this. I don't know. I've seen a lot of YouTube videos, and I do take a lot of pointers from them, but you can also find your own way with some things. And the mulch is just one of the things that I found that they seem to really, really do good in. And as you can see, they burrow in it, and it kind of cools them off too. Because see, these are outside. Now, this is North Carolina, so it's pretty hot. They can deal with it here. But you don't have to use mulch. It's just something I like to do. You don't have to use dog food, but I already have so much dog food that, it would just go to waste if I didn't give it to the crickets. I feed my fish in the pond the dog food. A lot of times that doesn't get eaten. Because, here at the rescue, we have a lot of dogs and a lot of dog food. Anyways, just going to give you a little view of my cricket bin. And I made a little flap. Take the lid and put your 2 holes in it. Now see, mine's got the little clamp handles. Unclamp those. You don't have to have a tub with handles. I just chose that. I cut the 2 screen holes, taped in a piece of screen so they would have a lot of ventilation and fresh air. But I made this so I don't have to take the whole lid off. I just cut the middle out and taped one side back on. And that way it just, flaps open and closed. And then I'm not stuck trying to pull this big lid up over and over and over to get crickets out for my dragons. And see, they got plenty of ventilation, plenty of fresh air. I don't like to put the food on top of their, right on top of their egg crates, because they do pee and poop a lot over here. And they bed up a lot in there. If I pulled these things apart, you would be shocked. at how many crickets are in there. It's crazy. Hold on. Now these are bigger crickets, but there are breeding crickets. That's a lot of crickets. You okay, Fluffer? There are thousands in here. Now, when they start to lay eggs, after they mate and they lay their eggs, they will eventually die. They only live like 10 weeks, I think. So we pick out the dead ones and throw them in the pond to the fish. Basically a life cycle where everybody gets to eat. And everybody eats good. But you definitely want to keep your bin cleaned out. You don't want a bunch of dead crickets everywhere. That can cause them to get sick. Because crickets do use the bathroom, and it is not like sanitary for them to be living in it. You know, they would not live in it in the wild, so you don't want them living in it here. You want to keep it cleaned out. And before you go getting any kind of a reptile like a beardy, chameleon, gecko, tortoise, turtle, any kind of, snake, any kind of reptile, please do your homework and your research and know what you're getting into, because we rescue bearded dragons weekly here, and it's because a lot of people go to these pet stores, and the pet stores won't normally tell you what kind of a responsibility a bearded dragon is. There's a pet store here in North Carolina, and they actually have chameleons set for beginners. Like the tag under the aquarium actually says, best for beginners, and that is not true. Chameleons are not best for beginners. And bearded dragons are not best for beginners. You always need to do your homework. Bearded dragons need to be, they need special lights, humidity, special food source. They can't eat just anything like some other reptiles and animals can. Same thing with chameleons. It's a lot of hard work that goes into getting certain reptiles like that. Always do your homework first. We got some butternut squash here, orange, potato. Now be careful, because some reptiles, you don't want to feed your crickets oranges, because some reptiles can't be eating oranges. And usually the crickets can pass it through their system, but you don't want to risk it. I don't give them very much oranges at all. Once in a while, they get a little slice like that, and then I'll take it out a day later. I always give them potatoes, squash, greens, stuff like that. Dog food, fish food. Hear them chirping. Some of these are pretty big. Now, the bearded dragon can only eat something. You should only give them food that is the size of between their eyes.